why aren't we seeing gig economy startups like Uber and DoorDash anymore? Well, the answer is actually telling us a lot of things about the current world we're in and the world we were in when those startups were created. And this is the journey I want to take you on today. Before we start, if you like this kind of content around VC, the startup world, and behind the scenes of the Y Combinator ecosystem, please hit the subscribe button. I publish a new video every week. Thank you very much. So when Uber and DoorDash were started, we were living in a very different world than today. Basically, those startups were not profitable at first. They're just losing money to offer you a cheap ride, a cheap food delivery, and that money was coming from investors. This is the times of zero interest rate policy, or ZIRP. That money from investors were very easy to get because investors didn't have any other place to invest than startups. If you can only get 0% or 0.5% in treasury bonds, you're not going to put your money there because it brings you nothing. It yields you nothing. So you're going to invest it in startups, and those startups raised billions of dollars in order to give you cheap prices, gain market share. And then when that stopped, prices increased. And so that's what happened with Uber, who was not profitable for so long, had now majority of market share worldwide, globally, and then increased its pricing just slightly to reach profitability. So these monetary conditions made possible the rise of Uber. Of course, today we live in a very different world where money isn't free anymore. It's not as easy as it was to raise hundreds of millions of billions of dollars because interest rates have gone up. Investors have many other places to invest their money. So of course, good startups still are able to raise, but many investors choose to invest elsewhere. And so you have to be capital efficient. Investors will ask you, how do you reach profitability and how do you actually make money? So if your answer is, I'm going to burn and spend money for years before I'm profitable, it's very unlikely that you actually raise any funds. If you add to all of this that the wages went up, and so people who work for you are expected to be paid less, they want more money for what they do, plus regulations caught up with the gig economy. There's new regulations in place all over the world in many different states. So it is much more difficult today to start a gig economy startup, which is the first reason why we haven't seen any new big startups recently. But the second reason is much, much more interesting. And of course, it is the rise of AI. I'm sure you've heard of AI. And now instead of trying to outsource tasks to humans, we're trying to outsource tasks to AI and robots. So in the case of Uber, we're trying now to have self-driving cars. And we have here in San Francisco, Waymos everywhere. I'm sure you've seen them. They're now in Austin and many other places and adding more cities. Of course, you can think of all of those platforms to outsource work like Fiverr, Upwork, freelancer.com, where you'd have, a design task, a coding task that you wanted someone to do for you. Today, you can just ask the AI to do it for you. And so that's the big shift that we're seeing is gig economy is going to transition into AI economy, where instead of humans doing the work, AI is doing the work for you. So why haven't we seen that many yet? It's because it's very difficult to get the AI to a point where it can actually fully replace a human. We humans still have many advantages where we can manage a project, persevere until we solve the bugs and the problems, and actually deliver a finished product. And in many cases, that's not it. AI can just generate an image, but of course, a designer will understand the context, will do several designs, iterate on them, etc. But AI is catching up. It's getting there. And so the next iterations of those marketplaces, of those gig economy startups, are going to be AI economy. For self-driving, for example, it is also very complex, but we are getting there in some cities. And of course, it will very likely generalize to the US and to the world in the coming year. And so if you're a new entrant today, if you're a newcomer to this world, if you want to build your marketplace, you're competing with both legacy players who've been here for a decade, who have a big brand awareness. Everyone knows Uber. You show up at any airport in the world, you pull up your phone and you call an Uber to come and get you. And they also sometimes have regulatory capture, which means they close the door after them, and now it's very difficult for you. And you're competing with AI solutions. So it's almost impossible to start right now a new player in this field, which is why we haven't seen any new players in the gig economy space for a while. This also means a big opportunity for you as a founder. The old gig economy playbooks are probably dead for all the reasons that I just mentioned. So now it's time to invent the new playbooks of the AI gig economy, or just the AI economy. How does it work? What's the Amazon Mechanical Turk of AI? What's the Uber of AI? What's the DoorDash of AI? We don't have a DoorDash yet. Does it have to involve humanoid robots from Tesla or someone else? Or is there a lower, smaller version? I've seen in Miami, maybe you've seen that as well, those small sort of rolling boxes that drive around on the curb, bringing you your food. Maybe that's autonomous delivery. And of course, Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, is working on cloud kitchens, which is a way to have robots prepare your food. So if robots prepare your food, robots deliver your food, maybe that's the next iteration of DoorDash. Those are the new playbooks that are still to be invented. Remember, AI is only sort of at day 1 or day 2, but we probably have 5, 10, 15, 20 years of innovations ahead of us. There's still many businesses to invent, many playbooks to write. So this is your chance as a founder. And by the way, I would love for you to tell me in the description what you think are the new playbooks for AI automation. 2025, of course, is the year of agents. In 2013, we gigified everything and outsourced everything. Everyone could have a private chef, a private driver. In 2025, we're automating everything with AI. So the question you've got to ask yourself is, what will you automate? I'm really excited to see what you come up with and build. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. You can also check out the Lobster Talks, my podcast where I interview YC founders to tell their journey. You can just find the Lobster Talks on YouTube. See you next week for the next video.